What is going on, guys? This is Versatile Gaming with my review of Strike the Blood episode 15, and this episode, it definitely got me at the end. That right there was like a sucker punch. I definitely wasn't expecting that ending, so it caught me completely off guard. But the episode starts off with a younger Yuma here who is being tended to by these elderly maids. And so she's asking where her mother is, and they were saying that she is in the prison barrier. And of course she has no idea what that is, so she asks them where is that, or what it is. And they tell her that it's this prison that exists on an entirely different like plane of existence than our own. And they were saying that it's in this demon district on the far east, and they were saying that this witch here, or her mother, she had created her to one day free her. So it's kind of like she knew that one day she'd be captured, and she had like a backup plan here, which was Yuma. So now back to our modern time, we have Kojo and Yukina, and they're trying to get through to Yuma, and of course it's not working. But we actually see that like Yuma was actually very obsessed with Kojo in some sense, because she was saying how she cut her hair, like cut her hair short so that she could be more like Kojo, and now she's in his body, which she never really expected to really happen. And so we have the Dimitri, or Valter. He's here, and of course he wants the prisoners to be free so he can fight them. And he was telling Kojo to to relax and not worry, because he was going to take care of them, and he also going to take full responsibility. So this guy really wants the prisoners to become free. But then we have the Meyer sisters here, who are definitely not wasting time as they quickly immobilize Yukina and Kojo. And so they were planning on killing Yukina by ripping off her arms and legs, and that right there was definitely going to be pretty extreme. But luckily they were saved by Sayaka and La Folia. And then we have a surprise visitor here, and because we see Kensei Kanase, who we all know is what's that girl name? Kanon. That right there was her bastard, like stepfather, so to say, who was like experimenting on her, making her into an angel. So now that he's here, we actually learn that he has a very similar magic to Yuma's, which is why they actually needed him. And so once Yuma actually was able to make this prison appear, it was more like an illusion, so to say, as it wasn't there physically. Like you could see it, but in the same sense, it still wasn't there. And so now La Folia here, she was saying that Yuma, Yukina and Kojo, they should be the ones to go after her, because Yukina's spirit can deal with him, and Kojo is the real fourth progenitor, so it makes sense. And we have La Folia here and Sayaka. They were actually going to deal with these sisters. So thanks to Kensei's little portal spell, they actually went after Yuma. And I was definitely liking this whole dynamic here between Sayaka and La Folia. It was definitely cool. I'm loving the way that these characters are with each other, and it was so funny when they saw that Kojo was actually now a girl. And La Folia definitely doesn't bite her tongue, because she was saying that she cannot have an heir with Kojo while he's like this. So it's definitely obvious that there are some feelings there. Like, even if that was a joke, we want to say that in a jokey manner. So I definitely think she was serious when she said that. So Kojo is still a lucky bastard, because he had all these girls fighting for him. But once they chased after Yuma, we saw the Blue Knight. And Yuma actually surprised me when she summoned, one of Kojo's familiars. Now, she said that she didn't steal, like Kojo's control over it. She used some space-time magic to use our earlier recording of this attack. But we see that attack right there came with some serious risk, as we saw that the Blue Knight, it actually got hurt by like recoil, and Yuma got hurt as well. But she said that thanks to Kojo, nobody has to die, because without his body, she would have to sacrifice 100,000 people to break this barrier. But thanks to Kojo, she only had to use her familiar, to make the prison barrier appear physically. So once that happened, she quickly ran inside, as she wasn't going to deal with them now, as she wanted to free her mother. And we see that even though, you know, the prison was here, these prisoners that were locked up, they were still trapped inside. And I was wondering why it was like that, because we didn't see no guards here, so you would think that these prisoners would be free. But we learned that the key to keeping them in their cells or wherever they're locked in is actually Natsuki, because she is the key here to this entire prison system. And that right there really shocked me. And then we learned something more amazing, was that every time we have seen her so far, she was nothing more than an illusion. And even though we have seen her kick some serious butt, because we have seen her fighting before, it was never really her but an illusion. So you can only imagine, you know, how much power she has if she's there physically, more or less an illusion. So I was shocked by that. But we saw that she was unconscious, so I was like wondering, you know, maybe her protecting this place for so long, it was kind of like exhausting her, and maybe that's why she was like knocked out. But we have Yuma here who was constantly going after her, but thank God for Yukina being there, because she was protecting her with her life. And of course Kojo can't really fight, but he was still trying to get through to her. Because we see at one moment they're like naked talking to each other, but they're in the right bodies. And Kojo, you know, brought up a good point. What exactly will her mother do once she's free? Because clearly she is not going to give a crap about Yuma at all. So that right there definitely made me wonder, you know, why is she doing this? But she kept saying that she could not deny or disobey this order that was like programmed into her. And so then we have Yukina, who was no longer holding back and had went in for the kill with that spell. But we see that she got hesitant and stopped. And that right there shocked me, because this right here was a plan in the first place. But we learned that her spear, it can kill a progenitor. And I believe La Folia said that earlier in the episode. So I'm not really, you know, that shocked that she stopped, but it did surprise me. And even Yuma said that, you know, Yukina was kind of scared that Kojo might not recover from this. But Kojo backed her up, and he actually wanted her to attack his body. So that right there goes to show you how much resolve and determination he has to save his friend and make things right. And we see, you know, at one point Kojo has the spear. He was able to predict Yuma's movements because he had studied her and knew her faces so well. So at one point when he threw the spear at her and the Blue Knight had caught it, we see that it would like stab to the arm as we saw his armor cracking. But luckily, thanks to Yukina, it had sent the spear flying through the night, and it pierced you know, Kojo's body. And so then everything, it was like set right, and we have Kojo back in his body and we have Yuma back in her body. And even though Kojo was hurt, as we said, he felt so much pain that he wanted to die, Yukina still wanted to give him blood. But when he was so concerned about Yukina, about Yuma, I don't know why I'm getting the name messed up right now, sorry about that. But when Kojo was worried about Yuma, he actually got up like he was fine and normal. So that right there, you know, really surprised me. But it goes to show you, you know, how much he cared about his friends, that he is not gonna let this pain stop him. And so we get this like nice moment here where we have Natsuki, who actually woke up, and we learn that the only reason why she was knocked out, it was because from that familiar attack that Yuma used in Kojo's body earlier, it had knocked her out. And I'm not gonna lie, I found that part to be very funny actually, because even though she's so powerful, an attack like that, she definitely wouldn't come unscathed from that. So I did understand that, because we all know that Kojo is a more powerful vampire. But then just when things seem to be, you know, going so well, as we have Yuma finally being free, I was so glad about that, as she no longer wanted to free her mother. She was free. We see the Blue Knight had appeared, and he actually attacked. He attacked and pierced Yuma with his sword. And not only that, we see like some kind of magic going on, where it's like a portal magic, where it's on Yuma and Natsuki. And that sword, not only did it pierce Yuma, but it also pierced Natsuki as well. And that right there shocked the hell out of me. I definitely did not see that coming. I thought that maybe, you know, her mother had got so upset that Yuma failed that she killed her off. But I definitely did not see Natsuki getting hit as well. I'm definitely worried though that Natsuki is dead, because we just see this blood coming from her mouth, and you just see this like dark look appearing around her eyes. It is definitely not looking good. And so now we have these two characters dying, and if that happens, her mother is definitely going to get free. And even Yuma, she even said, well, she asked her mother if she was like really willing to go this far, and apparently she is. So like I said, this ending right here, it just went from like being so good and happy to just being so dark and twisted. It really does kind of just like sucker punch you. Oh, and also La Folia and Sayaka, they of course dealt with those sisters, as we saw them getting locked up before. But we learned that these sisters, I believe it was called the Ass Down Tragedy, where they had destroyed this like entire forest. And we learned that like basically La Folia had managed to destroy all the branches that were surrounding them. And then we have Sayaka, who actually managed to purify this entire forest. And it's like when those sisters, lost that, they had nothing else. So they were actually, not really that strong to begin with. If they could go down after losing, just like one familiar, even though it was so massive, like a cursed forest, they still weren't that much of a threat to begin with. But I am definitely looking forward to the next episode. I'm hoping some way, somehow, that Yuma and Natsuki, manage to survive this. But as of right now, it is definitely not looking good at all. But as always, please do not forget to like the video and subscribe, because that really helps me out a lot. I really appreciate that. But as always, guys, you all take it easy. I'll see you all next time.